Hi, Bill here. I'd like to talk about Stalemate as a drawing resource. So we'll go through some Stalemate patterns, and that way you become familiar with them. And if you're winning, you can avoid them. And if you're losing, you can see if you can force your opponent to stalemate you. So here's a fairly common one. The king is in the corner, and the queen is a knight's move away, and the king cannot move. So with stalemate, generally requires fewer pieces than a checkmate because you don't attack the square the king is on. Okay, so in this case, if any white piece at all was defending the rook, like a pawn or a king or whatever, black is in stalemate. Slightly unusual stalemate with two knights, but sometimes it comes up. A stalemate with a knight and a rook. Stalemate with a knight and a king. A lot of stalemates happen when the king's in the corner. Stalemate with king and bishop. King and bishop on the side. Now this particular one with king and queen against the king is one that literally millions of beginners have fallen into when attempting to checkmate with king and queen against the king. So one way to avoid it is, as soon as their king is on the edge of the board, move your queen to the second last edge. So in this case, that would be the 7th rank. Note the white king can be on different squares as well. So it can be on f6, g7, g8, and the white queen could be on a different square in some cases. An important stalemate. So this is an important resource for black when he has king against pawn and king. Yeah, this is unusual. This is a side with where just a lone king stalemates the other side. So this often happens when playing against a rook's pawn. Okay, another stalemate with a king and rook's pawn. This only applies if it's a rook's pawn. Otherwise, the king could move out here. Say, for example, if it was a knight's pawn. Most stalemates happen when one side only has a king, or they have pawns but all the pawns are blocked. But sometimes you may have pieces. In this case, the knight is pinned, so it can't move. So black is in stalemate. Another stalemate with the bishop being pinned, and the fact that this is stalemate is an important resource when playing with a bishop against a rook. Stalemate with rook and knight. Now here's a position where it's white to move, and white's in a difficult position because here's a rook against the queen, which is theoretically losing. So what he does, he sacrifices the rook. So if black doesn't take it, white would win the queen and draw. If the king takes it, it's now a stalemate. So sometimes the defender can create stalemate by sacrificing their last pieces. So here white stalemates by moving the king down.